Blessings, blessings. Good night, good evening, good morning, whatever time zone you're in, and welcome back to the channel. Our program today is continuing in autism awareness, as this month is, as everyone know, the month that represents or or we highlight the awareness of autism. And our topic tonight is the impact of autism and supporting networks for autistic individuals and their families. And my special guest tonight is FUNMILAYO Chumu. Forgive me if I'm pronouncing her name wrongly. Yeah. So before we go any further, I'm going to read our focus scriptures. I'm going to use the focus scripture that we have been using throughout the month so far, and I'm going to add another one to it. So the first one is Philippians 4:13, which says, I can do all things through Christ that gives me strength. Right. And it's self-explanatory because as we have been saying, it doesn't matter if you're autistic or not. Once you're in Christ, you can do all things through him because he strengthens you. And the other one is Isaiah 41:10. Fear thou not, for I am with thee. Be not dismayed, for I am thy God. I will strengthen thee. Yea, I will help thee. Yea, I will uphold thee with the right hand of my righteousness. So fear not, God is going to uphold you. And as I officially announce my guests here again, and I'm welcoming you again. Thank you for coming on. Thank you for accepting the invitation. And you can go ahead and introduce yourself to the listeners.
Thank you once again for having me. My name is FUNMILAYO, JIMOH, and I'm a parent to an autistic teenager. Tonight, I would like to talk about the impact of autism and the supporting network for autistic individuals and their family as well. First of all, before I go deep into that, I just want to let everyone know, especially people that don't have an idea, that autism is a very wide range of a spectrum condition. And for health professionals to actually finally come to a conclusion on all the findings, they have to accurately go through a lot of coding of an extensive array of in terms of behavior and all the observation. They have to actually go through all these findings, putting them together before coming to conclusion of what the assessment or what the report might eventually come to. I mean, the conclusion of the report. So going through all this process can be very, very time consuming, and that's why it takes time for all this finding to come to a conclusion before actually giving a final verdict of whatever level of condition, level of spectrum the child might belong, or any individual might belong into. So, and with all these findings, and it can be very, very demanding for parents, because it's parents that actually comes that can actually give you the detailed knowledge of all this information. So it can, and with all this, it can actually make a very can actually be a very strong, strong and demanding impact on the family. So when it comes to autism, I will try to, talk about some certain impact that can have on the family. For example, like when it comes to emotional impact on the family. After going through series of assessment, diagnosis, coming to a conclusion of what you've been presented in front of you in terms of the report of what is actually going on with your child or any individual that might be involved in that you might be involved in, it can be very, very overwhelming. And scary, and because it's a new,
Sometimes,
because it's a new phase of life. It's a new journey entirely that you didn't actually plan for or envisage that you're going to find yourself in. And so navigating your life as a parent or any individual that you have to care for such autistic individual is like a new challenge that you have to face. So this can be very overwhelming for families. It can be very, very sad, frustrating, in, sad, demanding for parents.
Yeah.
Learning in
Hmm.
terms of learning how to cope with all this new phase, learning how to cope in terms of the behavior, learning how to cope with how to live daily with all these conditions and
Yeah.
presented before them. It can be very, very demanding and very, very overwhelming, which have most cases have a negative impact when it comes to the emotional well-being of the family.
I
But
understand. Yeah.
the point is, yeah, you are not alone, but you have to find that network whereby it can actually give you that support to move to actually navigate your your um your life along with the child or with such individuals. And if this is not presented before you, whatever, it can have a negative impact, and which can be frustrating because if you don't know how to go about it. Okay, let me take for example when I was told that my son was autistic. Of course, I actually fought with the doctor because I wasn't actually buying the idea. It's true. I wasn't because I didn't believe it that was what was happening. Because one thing I noticed about my son was that he was highly intelligent I noticed that when he was younger. So
Yeah.
coming to terms and telling me that my son is autistic, I wasn't really buying it. So I fought with the doctor. So it was when my son was about to start a full-time school that I was told that I had to go back to collect the full diagnosis that the school was going to need it. And without it, the school can't actually work with my son. And that was when the reality of the whole situation dawned on me that, oh, this is actually true. Something is actually happening here. So going through the course of the journey of it was a new phase for me because it's not something, like I've said, it's not something that I've planned for, not
Yeah.
something I've thought of, So at that moment, I just realized that, yeah, this is a new chapter of a life that I have to start learning about. And I don't have a clue of what was. I know I've heard of autism before, but in the wider context, I have no clue of what it's all about, and I don't know what to actually do. But I noticed that during that time, my son was not communicating very well. So I knew something was wrong. But I just thought that because being the only child at home, that was the reason why it was like that. And I was like, and I thought to myself that when he starts full-time school, he should pick up his communication and
Yes.
stuff like that. But when this situation presented itself before me, I wasn't having it. And I cried so much that I kept on talking to God. What kind of a chapter of life is this? I didn't plan for this. How am I going to do this? You know,
Don't
but
worry. He gives the grace. Yeah. He gives the grace.
yeah, but at that point, you're not even seeing the grace at all because it's not what you are actually thinking of. And I remember that around that time, I think I was planning to get back into to full-time employment, and I was told that I can't leave my son in that. I have to walk along with him. So I
Yeah.
had to push my career aside and actually because, like I've said to you, my son was not talking very well then, and I'm trying to understand why his communication was like that, and telling me, oh, it's called echoline. It's echoline. I kept on thinking, what is this all about? I don't get it. So, but I was lucky during that one time because I was be put through some certain direction of how I can actually learn on how to help him get better, how I can get better on a daily basis. So even though it was challenging because it's a new thing, like I said, it's a new thing for me. It's not part of my line and all at all. So I had to be learning every moment of my life then to learn how to actually help my son in terms of communicating, in terms of behavior, in terms of the daily routine of how to live with him, what I'm supposed to be doing with him, what I'm not supposed to be doing, just to help him progress, help him develop better. And thank God for my husband. He is very supportive. Some parents don't have that
Amen.
support.
Amen.
They don't have that kind of a support from their partners, and they are left alone navigating those course of all these challenges by themselves, which is it can be very, very sad and frustrating,
Stressful. Yeah.
yeah, and stressful and anxious of what what will happen next, or what are you going to what you intend to face next. You don't know. You're just trying your best in the way you can,
Yeah.
depending on the level of the knowledge that you have, or what you've learned, or what you've seen. So it can have a very negative impact in terms when it comes to emotion on the family. Um,
Okay. Because I can just imagine, for instance, let's say, let us just draw a reference. If um if it's, let's say, if it's cancer, and you hear that your child has cancer, and the child has a medical issue to deal with, and you, the parent, now is like, what am I going to do? What have I done to deserve this? And yeah, I could understand how you're going to God, and it's like, what is this? How am I? Because if you and your own self, it's like, it's a new world. It's like you take
yeah,
a goldfish and throw it in the sea with sharks. So you're
exactly,
trying to adjust and maneuver and survive within that environment.
exactly.
So I understand clearly what you're saying. So we have two questions here. One is from Hayes, says, what signs did you see in your son, if any, that he was autistic? And Tushin, if I pronounce your name correct wrongly, please forgive me. What are the signs you first noticed in your son? So basically, the two questions are the same.
Same time, yeah. I didn't know it was autistic initially. I didn't notice that, but the only thing I noticed that it was highly intelligent, and he was highly intelligent here. So I didn't notice that he was autistic at all until when I was told that he was autistic by the specialist. And like I said to you, I wasn't buying it. So I actually went to the doctor and I left. And I told him not to put the medical statement on his report. So I left. But when I was a year after, when I was being called upon again from when he was about to start full-time school, and I was told that no, I was no, my no. What happened was my intention was put to it, and I was asked if there's something wrong with my son. I said, what did they? I will ask them what do they mean, and they asked me, has it been diagnosed? I said yes, but I didn't collect it because I didn't believe in it. And I was told I had to go back to collect the diagnosis because they can see it's a sign of autism in him. So I kept on thinking, what do you mean sign of autism? But when I get to understand what autism means to my level of my knowledge, then the signs that I could point out was is verbal communication. When it comes to communication, it wasn't at the age of 3.5, it wasn't communicating as much as his peers.
Yeah.
And when he was around 5 years old, when he was starting full-time school, yeah, could remember now, his communication was like echo line, repeating back what is being said to him. Then I realized that something was wrong and I was confused. Why was he communicating that way? So, and that was why I decided to step up that, okay, I need to help my son to get to understand me when I'm communicating with him. I noticed that he wasn't talking, but if he wants something, he tend to point me
Pattern.
towards the direction
Yeah.
of it. Yeah, and that's when I knew what he wanted. But apart from that, he wasn't communicating that much properly. So, and that was when I realized that, okay, something is wrong. I need to rise up to that and just see how I can help him communicate. And that was when my journey started of trying to look for support and trainings just to come to the understanding of what autism is all about and how I can
Yeah.
actually help my son with it.
Okay. Thanks
Okay,
for
so
sharing. Yeah. How old is
yes,
your son now?
he's 15 going to 16 this year.
Oh, okay. So you survived a long time.
Yeah.
Yes.
Right.
So
So
someone is saying communication is one of the first telltale signs. Yeah.
yes, mom. Yeah.
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 I- I've got a friend that has a son also, and he was like 4 going on 5, like that was like about 6, 7 years ago, and she was really and truly, she was praying and praying and praying and asking God that if he had failed to speak at age 5. He wasn't speaking. His younger sister was speaking, and he wasn't. And well, it's at the point where now she has learned a lot of about autism, and she has even opened a school for autism children,
which is good.
right? Children, yeah, autistic children. So share with us the foundation that you founded.
Right. Okay. I actually created the group as a result of when I noticed that a lot of parents are not aware of what autism. I mean, no, not even parents, but a lot of people are not even aware of what autism is all about, and parents that have autistic children or individual in their life don't even know what it's all about, and not knowing how to go about it, where to get the support from. And those are the things that actually prompted me and actually starting the group in the first place. So that, I mean, when they come on the group and whatever situation needs they might be facing, they cannot as well drop into the group, and any member in the group that has an idea of what the question might be, or even I can actually, I mean, raise it up and explain what, and try to help out in terms of what their question might be, but or point them in the right direction of how to go about whatever the question might be. So that's the reason why the group was created now.
Okay, and what's the name of it? I'm trying to look for the name of it here. I can't remember it offhand.
It's called Beautiful Variations.
Okay. Um, BV. Yeah, beautiful variation. Yeah. So and if someone so this group is available on WhatsApp only.
No, we're on WhatsApp, we're on Facebook, and we're also on Instagram as well.
Okay. So can you type the name of it in the chat, please? So persons can look for the link, or if you have got a link, you can put it into the chat.
Okay, let me see if I can get hold of the link and put it in the chat box.
Yeah. Right. So whilst you're doing that, we've got another question that says, does that mean that all children with communication challenges are autistic? And I think the answer for that is no, but I will
No,
wait for you to respond.
no, it's not every child that has a communication challenge are autistic. Some might some children might just have the communication delay, but that doesn't mean they're autistic. The sign for autistic, the main three sign for autism is it has to do with the social interaction, the communication, the interaction, and also the behavior. When it comes to behavior, autistic children tend to have a repetitive behavior and like a fixative behavior when it comes to their interest. Those are the signs
Yeah.
when it comes to behavior. And when it comes to social interaction, not that they don't want to interact, but they find it challenging in terms of interacting with um, their peers or any individuals. And so in most cases, they tend to kind of, and if they cannot actually get to interact, they tend to resolve in their world
Mm-hmm.
or play isolatedly. And when it comes to interaction too, because like I said, is a wider spectrum. Okay, I would say when it comes to individual autistic that can actually communicate verbally. When it comes to social interaction, their interaction can be um, odd, um,
Okay.
and I'm just trying to think of so many examples that can put from my head. It can be odd, or it can be funny, or like not like in normal typical behavior of any individuals. And that's how those are the things you tend to notice when it comes to autistic individual, different from a neurotypical individual.
Okay.
When it comes to communication, for autistic individual, I think they tend to echo like that's for autistic individual that is at the at the stage of trying to communicate. I think this happens usually happen at the age of 4, 5 years old.
Okay.
Yeah, because initially there's mostly a delay, but by age of 4, 5 years old, they tend to echolate, and they're repeating back what is being heard. Not that they didn't hear you; they can hear you, but
Yeah.
the process of the communication might not maybe misinterpreted in their brain. So
Mm-hmm.
this can resolve back in them um saying anything or saying things that they think, and to them they think they're communicating.
Okay.
Yeah. So these are the signs when it comes to communicational issue for autistic individuals. And when they are around 2 years old, the communication might not be there at all. And if it's there, maybe like da da da, just one or two words, and
Yeah.
that is hear
Yeah.
it. Yeah, that's it. Yeah. So it
Okay.
goes. So these three things goes together. When that is how to notice a sign of autism in any individual. Let me say in a child.
Yeah.
Goes together.
Okay.
So if it's just communication, it might be communicational delay, but that doesn't mean the child is autistic.
Okay. And so we have, okay, so the three major signs are communication, social interaction, and behavior. All right?
Yes.
Right. And then I've got a question here. How do you deal with other children in the home who may not understand that an autistic brother or sister is getting away with certain things?
How do you
They may
deal
feel
with?
that the child is the sibling is given special privileges.
You mean for the autistic individual, for the autistic child?
Yeah. How do you deal with other children, the children that are not autistic, that they may feel
Oh,
that their brother or sister that's autistic is being given special privileges?
for me, I'm quite blessed and lucky because it's my older son that is autistic, and his younger sister tend to understand. For some reason, she tend to understand his brother's condition, so she doesn't see it as giving him a special treatment. In fact, she's so much concerned about him more than
Okay.
herself. Yeah, but in the case of other families, and I've heard of some other families that goes through situations like this, that the siblings tend to feel jealous or neglected of not being cared for because all the attention is mostly focused on
The
this.
autistic child. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. So in this kind of a situation, you just have to let the child understand. And another thing that can that is why I was talking about I was because I'm still going to mention that when it comes to informal support, informal network support for families, when it comes to situations like that, family, I mean, autistic family has to kind of find a way to reach out to the supporting network. And for those supporting network, you can actually get support in terms of getting um childcare support that can come in to actually help you focus on on your autistic child while you focus on other children in the home, help
Anyhow.
them, or getting those support to help you focus on that autistic child so you can actually focus on other siblings at home. Yeah, but
Okay.
you have to actually find this network that can
Yeah.
actually help you, that can do that.
For you, yeah. So I understand what you're saying. So my other question is now, what support through the group or the foundation that you have created or you founded, what support can someone with an autistic child get from you all by joining the group? What support can they get?
Okay, the support you can get on our group, there's some special therapists, I mean specialist therapists on the group that you can get support from, and there's some other specialist group that you can get some advice on what you can do if there's any situation or any issues or whatsoever. We give advice on what you can do. We give advice on resources you can actually tap into, or where you can go to get to meet your needs. It depending on what they support what support you might be looking for. Well, I mean,
Okay.
it can tend to put you in the right direction of where to go to, or what to do, or what you can do. Yeah,
Yeah.
and if it's I mean, it has to do with assessment and therapies. We've got therapies on board as well that can actually do those things and meet those
Okay.
needs.
All right. So I missed a comment that says some children just have speech delay. So some children, it may not be that they're autistic, they may just have speech delay, but communication challenge is a pointer to consider autism. I'm sure Fumi will she be shed more light on that. Yeah. Okay. Well, you did. Yeah.
Right. So,
Yeah. So okay, so you can go ahead and share anything else that you want to enlighten parents or teachers or,
yeah,
about.
yeah. Like I've said to you, when your child has a speech delay, that doesn't mean they're autistic. And I've mentioned three main points you tend to note you have to look into for you to know whether the child is autistic or not. So if this is eliminated, is out of it, then you can now focus on the speech delay. When it comes to speech delay, what you can look for is or what we can recommend is for you to get a speech therapist
Mm-hmm.
help in that aspect. But probably, yeah, of course, yeah, an assessment has to be carried out within the child's environment, living environment, and
Yeah.
and also within the school environment of the child, and any other environment the child tend to relate with. An assessment has to be carried out for a
Okay.
conclusion to be drawn, and now and for and looking into the type of intervention the child might actually need. So, and that's how that works. But an assessment needs to be carried out. You can't just, I mean, come up with a suggestion or an assumption that, oh, this is what is happening. I mean, like I said to you, an assessment has to be carried out for you to
Okay.
vision of what is happening with the child and what the child needs eventually.
All right. So let me say to the viewers, welcome, welcome. For those of you who weren't here from the beginning, and anyone hiding behind the privacy screen, welcome. You're welcome to the channel. Welcome to the topic. And please place your questions if you have any questions that you want to ask. You can put them into the chat, please, or any comments. Feel free to do so. And your questions will be answered to the best of their ability by FoodMe. Yeah, so go ahead.
Right, okay. Thank you, ma'am. So another point I would also like to point out is the financial impact that it can have on the family. For example, caring for an autistic individual is a very expensive thing. And if families have the financial strength they have is not quite enough, this can be very challenging for them in terms of meeting the needs of getting the right specialist or the right equipment the child might need, the child or any individual might need, or even accessing the services. It might be very, very expensive and very, very demanding for some certain families. And that is if it's not covered by certain insurance that they do have, or for
Mhm.
example, like here in UK now, there's a lot of waiting lists when it comes to seeing the medical practitioner for when it comes to autistic individuals, or or when it comes to children generally. So this can put a strain on the family, and when it comes to waiting for your child to be assessed, it's something that you needed urgently so that you can actually move on to the next course of the journey for your child. And if you are waiting and you are being told that you have to wait for a year or 2 years, you want to go through another means of actually helping your child getting the right assessment on time so that you can know how to actually help your child. So this can put a strain and the family, trying to find a way out of what the system can offer, and in terms of financial wise, to get the support for their children. And even and some parents have to even leave work in order to actually take care of this, take care of their children. So all these things can cause a very huge financial strain on the family.
All right. I understand. And with that said, are there any benefits or anything special, anything in place to assist the families?
Yeah, there are benefits in place, but for the child and for the family to be able to access the benefit, the child needs to be assessed first.
Yeah.
Yeah, and assess and for and assess and come to a conclusion of what is actually happening before any intervention can be put in place and before all these benefits can be able to assess. So if your child is going to, if you're going to wait for that long, I mean, they cannot, they are unable to access those benefits. So some parents tend to go out of their way to actually get a private assessment for their children, which is can be very, very costly for them.
Okay. And there's a question here. Who can refer a child for assessment?
Um, when it comes to assessment, GP can't refer because GP doesn't have an. I mean, what I mean GP, I mean general practitioner cannot
Yeah.
actually refer a child because the GP doesn't have an history of what is going on with the child, except um, the child has been assessed and there is a plan in place. Then maybe for another referral, GP can do that, can actually assess. But when it comes to a starting assessment for the child, it's only the school management that can do that, because because autism is mostly noticed when the child is interacting with peers or in the environment or with yeah, with peers. Because like in my own case, that's how we started.
Okay.
Yeah, the GP doesn't have a clue of what was happening. So
Mhm.
and so the assessment started from his nursery, by the manager actually pointing it out to me to let him know that something was wrong with my son, which I wasn't buying it, like I've said to you. But she kept on insisting to me, telling me that there's something going on with my son. I should take him for what's it called, a chatty play program or a session.
Mhm.
And from there, the chatty play led to a speech and language therapy assessment. So
Okay.
when it comes to
I was
referral.
just okay. I was just going to say to you, can you share an insight of the actual assessment?
Okay, so when it comes to referral, it's mostly can start with this from the school, maybe probably like the school manager or the school proprietor or school or this or the school mentor actually pointing it out to you for your child to be assessed, just to be sure what is actually happening with the child and see how they can actually work with the child from there. And moving on to speech and moving on to the speech and language therapist assessment as
Therapy.
well.
Yeah.
um, and then from there, pediatric assessment as well. I think pediatric can do actually carry out an assessment as well. Yeah,
Mhm.
if the school feels that there's a concern going with the child, you can actually refer to the pediatric. Of course, you can tell the GP so with but the GP can refer you to the pediatric to for a proper assessment to be carried out before a conclusion can be drawn on what is actually happening with the child.
Happening. Yeah.
In my own case, it was a pediatric that actually told me. Like I said, I wasn't buying it, and I left. Yeah. And even though we've gone through a speech and language therapist assessment, occupational, no, speech and language therapy assessment and the pediatric assessment, and all these reports were actually put in front of me, I wasn't still buying it because I didn't really believe it that something was wrong with my son until when the school, I mean, his primary school actually pointed it out to me again, and
Okay.
and that was when I realized that, okay, there's something going on here.
So, what was your son's reaction throughout all of this?
Um, yeah, initially, he doesn't even have an idea. He's just in his own world. Most autistic children are mostly in their own world. They,
Yeah.
and that's the amazing gift about their life that people don't tend to know. No, it's they have this ability not to be less concerned about what's going on
What's
around.
going on around them? Yeah,
They're so much into their world, into whatever thing they're doing, and that's it.
yeah,
Yeah, and for us at home, it's kind of like an advantage for us because it's less, like I've said, he's less concerned about what's going on around him. So he's just interested in whatever that's interested in, and that's
that
it.
is doing. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. So, okay, we've got another question again. What about the UK education system? Is enough being done to give autistic children proper education?
Hmm. When it comes to the UK educational system, as a parent, you can't just sit back and just expect the educational system to do everything for you. You have to rise up as a parent and advocate for your child.
Child. Yeah,
Because, like I've said from the beginning, autism is a very wider spectrum. So what might be going on with this child might be different from what might be going on with your child.
one of the child. Yeah,
Yeah. So you have to rise up as a parent to actually navigate that course of getting the right educational support. Looking into the right educational support for your child. Of course, the educational system might come up with their own suggestion as well. But the point is this: is it really suitable for your child? You have to look into what is suitable for your child's need, because during my own experience, we have to change our son 3 times during his primary school days then, because he wasn't coping at all. He wasn't settling, he wasn't coping in much of the primary school we actually put him into.
yeah.
And even though some of the, I mean, is it, one, no, 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 no. Well, yeah, one of it actually even have the resource provision, but still yet it wasn't suitable for him. So we have to step in and actually, you know, look for the right one that is actually suitable for him. Even though the educational system was not buying it, so
Okay.
we're not ready to help. We have to actually put the matter forward and take the case to the court, just for us to prove to them that all what we've been assessing all this while it was not working for our child. We need to get the right suitable one, and we know from what we've seen that this will be suitable for him. So that's the thing. You don't leave everything for the educational system to decide for your child, because you know your child better more than the educational
That's
system.
right.
And when it comes to diagnosis, you are the one that you have to give all the necessary information that the therapist, the medical practitioner, everyone of them are going to need. You are going to be the one to give us all this information. They are just going to sit down to deliberate and look into what you've given them and come up with the right intervention for your child. But you have to give all this information. So you don't leave everything for the system. You have to rise up to it. So, and if you don't know where to go, that is why all the formal network support is available out there. If you don't know how to access it, it's better for you as a parent to join any network that you know that is much more supportive, away from all the formal channels. When I say formal channels, I mean all the medical support that is there, all the therapies and all the institution that is there. Away from all this, you have to join all those informal network for you to get the right information that is suitable for your child's needs, and where to
Yeah,
go, where to tap all those information from. So
yeah.
you have to step out of your comfort zone. Let me put it that way.
Yeah, you got to do your homework.
Exactly.
That's right. That's right. And as the other comment says, yes, true, because you know your child better. That's right. Yeah. So I know the link was put into the chat. I am not seeing it from my angle. I don't know if the listeners are seeing the link to Beautiful Variation, but I typed it in here and it didn't come up as a link. So I don't know if it's being blocked or something. So I hope that persons can see the link to the group that you have and make take advantage of it, make full use of it, contact for me, and you know, if you have an autistic child or you know an autistic child, and get that, to get some networking going on with them and help the parents and different things like that. One question came to me like for instance, the library, is there anything attached to the library or any group that's, that's governmental where the library is concerned for autistic children, like to help them with reading and different things?
Yeah, I think libraries do have the time and session for autistic individuals. You just have to look for the right, because it's not every time that is available for them because of their condition of the sensory issue they go through. So there's suitable time for them. So all you need to do is to make an inquiry regarding your borough or your area, which are the
Mhm.
what are the times that is available for them, so that you can actually take your children in, your child in, or any individual that you might have that into the library to read or do anything that you want to do with them in the library. Yeah.
Okay. And the other thing is that I know, like for instance, the country I originally came from, Trinidad and Tobago, I don't think there's anything. I think there's a association, but I don't think much is being done. I don't know. I'll try to get some more information because we still have, I think, another week before. Today is what, the 10th. We still have like about 2 weeks into the month to try to get some more information and share. So I will try working on that and see what other information I can come up with, or who I can bring on. Or if you have anyone else that you can bring on to share more information with us, with the public, that is, yeah, you are welcome to do so.
Right.
You are welcome to do so. Um, and as I said, as we started in the beginning with our scriptures, it's not the end of the world. Autism is not the end of the world. And the scripture, Philippians 4:13 says, you can do all things through Christ who gives you strength. So as for me was searching and doing her own stuff, getting her homework done, and praying to God. Yes, parents, don't get overwhelmed, don't get frustrated, don't get stressed. There is help out there. There are groups that you can network with and get help and guidance to handling the situation with your children, and even your own self, to keeping calm, not let your pressures go up, your your blood pressure go up, and things like that. Yeah. So anything else you want to share with us, please?
Well, let me just try to elaborate more on all the formal network, because I think this is the things a lot of autistic parents don't know that is available out there for them, and the benefit of all this network in terms of it. Okay.
Yeah, I usually say don't be selfish. Share the program, whatever is being imparted here. Don't be selfish. Don't keep all the knowledge to yourself. Share it with someone else. Someone may need it. Yeah.
Right.
And
Okay.
if you're here for the first time, those of you on for the first time, please feel free to like, comment, share, and subscribe to our channel, so the message can go out. It help us to grow the channel by subscribing. Thank you in advance.
So when it comes to informal networking, this can provide the much more information for the family in terms of the local resources they can access, services they can access, and in terms of support, the supporting group they can actually have an access to as well. And all this information is much more benefiting for families in terms of also in terms of upcoming events that can be coming up for them as families, to bring in much more awareness for them. Also, connecting families like them together, they can share much knowledge and experience together. Just to bring their friendship together for them, and also knowledge on how to tap into the relevant organizations, relevant medical treatment, therapy sessions, and other interventions that you think your child or any individual you're caring for might need. So you can get all this information from the network. You might not be able to get everything from all the formal network, but when it comes to informal network, you will definitely get all this information, because you have all these um individuals that you are in the same category, sharing so many things together, the knowledge, experience it together. So you definitely get all these resources from all this informal network. When I'm saying informal network, it means groups that groups that are much more, like for example the group that I created, groups that have been created by families that are aware of autism, or by any individuals, or it can even be some little therapy, supporting therapy groups being created
Mm-hmm.
for the
Mm-hmm.
support of families and individuals with autistic as well. I mean, sorry, with autism as well. And also,
Okay.
all this network, what it does for individuals and the families is providing this emotional support in terms of the supporting environment. They I mean, in terms of creating supporting environment of this, of for them, whereby they can actually express themselves emotionally, talk about what they are going through, talk about their fears, their challenges, and put this together in terms of knowing how to navigate the course of the journey as well. So I mean, this will not let them feel being alone in
Yeah.
the world. You
So
know,
it's like each one help one, they support one, and they can make friends amongst themselves. And something's happening. Like for instance, I'm just showing a reference again. If I'm cooking, let's say jollof rice, and I'm not sure about the ingredients, I can call someone and they can say, well, throw in some. Yeah,
yeah.
yeah,
Yes, so
yeah,
these are the things that the network actually,
yeah,
good for families like that. Yeah. I think
yeah.
there's a question here. Do
Yeah,
you
that's great. That's great. And then the question is on the screen. Do you think enough is being done to make the public aware of autism?
Not really. Not really. And that's why there's still a lot of misconception about autism. That's why still a lot of confusion about autism. But the more we speak out, the more the awareness will be pushed out. The more we actually, make it publicized, the more the awareness will be pushed out. That's the thing here. So we don't keep quiet. We
Yeah,
keep on talking, keep on advocating for our children. I mean, from my own case, I didn't even know that I'm actually advocating. I just want the best for my child. So, and
that's
I
right.
can't just
That's
sit
right.
back looking at my when I know that some needs are not being met. So we tend to go out all day, learn some things, try to understand some things, tell the school what they're supposed to do if they're not actually doing their job right. So that's the thing for us as families.
What about like outings, like like for instance, um let's say if two different schools come together and have like the let's say if, reference, let's say they may take the children to the zoo or something. What um what networking is there for like giving them like the outings, special locations together to to get to know each other, so to speak, like to build friends within, like this school has autism, children with autism, and they meet another school, and like a picnic and different things like that.
Yeah, first of all, what the school needs to do is to make make every other children involve around, to make them aware of what autism is all about, and which I've seen some schools that tend to do that, bringing the awareness to the children, make the children
Yeah,
understand that the importance of autism, what it's all about. And whenever they come across any autistic individual, they shouldn't feel biased or feel odd about it. Bringing that
yeah,
friendliness among
yeah.
the children, because it's very, very important for every other child to understand. And so I think that's what the school needs to do: bringing the awareness to the children every now and then.
Yes,
And it shouldn't be a one-off thing. It has to be a continuous thing.
continuously. Yeah, yeah. I
Yeah.
agree. I agree totally. So once again, if you all have any more questions, you can add it in the chat. If not, we'll be rounding up in like about 10 minutes. So I'll just ask for me to continue, what advice can she give to probably parents with first time parents to autistic children and things like that.
Yeah, and I think I mentioned something about in terms of advocating for your children. When it comes to all this informal network, or all this informal network, it can be an effective and a powerful advocate for individual with autism and their families as well, by coming together, raising the awareness of it, and being able to influence any policy decision. When I say influencing any policy decision, I remember during the case of my son when he was about to get into secondary school and he was refused the offer of what we wanted him to have. I really don't know what to do then. So I had to, tap into all this network. Thank God, I mean, I was able to get a very, very good lady that
Mhm.
I think she works as a no, not, yeah, as an advocate, but more as a care support giver. And
Okay.
she was the one that actually, pointed some few things that we can do to actually put our case forward.
Okay.
So that's why I said all this supporting network is very, very important. So
Yes, it
parents
is.
shouldn't feel
Isolated. Yeah.
isolated or worried or concerned of actually putting themselves out there to actually reach out to this network, because because if we don't try it, we won't know how supporting it
That's
can be.
right.
Yeah. So, and that was how we're able to get the benefit of it, and enjoy the benefit up to today. Is there an advantage of being
A Christian parent.
parent? Yeah, yeah, a very great advantage, because how can I'm trying to how I'm going to bring it to the light of, so that everybody can actually understand. Now that my son is older, and now he's in the phase of the teenage phase, which we are is another phase of what we are all dealing with at home now. He's no longer that young little boy that we tend to.
Yeah.
And as a teenage autistic individual, they tend to have the mind of it, because they are growing older now. Tend to have a mind of their own, wanting to do things by themselves, without taking anybody's decision or whatever. Just want to take that decision by themselves. So, and sometimes it can be out of order, and you're trying to actually bring them to the correction of what it can blow out of proportion because of their level of when it comes to reasoning, when it comes to communication. So I, as a parent, I thank God. I think it's God that is just helping. I will just put it that way, because I'm
The
not saying
grace. He gives the grace. Yes, the grace.
exactly.
The
I'm not
grace
saying
is
I'm
sufficient.
exactly trying to get him to understand some point. It takes a while, and eventually it will, but I have to break it down or use an illustration to actually for him to understand what I'm trying to say to him. And if he's not getting it, I ended up resolving back to the scripture. I follow in the Bible, using the scripture to actually make a reference to what I'm trying to teach him or trying to say to him.
Yeah,
Because when it comes to the scripture, there is no way you can escape it. You have to actually listen.
that's
That's
right. That's right. With all things, acknowledge him, and he will direct our paths.
exactly
Yeah,
what.
put him first and foremost in anything, and that's the beauty about God. We can always go back to Him. Easy phone call without a phone. The battery in your phone can die, but it can't die when you need to contact God. He's
Exactly,
always there, and we don't have to verbally speak to Him. Yeah, we can speak in our hearts. He
exactly,
hears us. He
exactly.
hears us.
Yeah, and these are the
So
things I let him to understand too. That if he's not, if because at this teenage stage as well, I think most autistic individuals tend to go through a lot of anxiety and worry, because because of, like I've said to you, they are making the decision, coming to a terms of how to make decision on their own. So many thoughts is going through their head, not being able to maybe to understand what or how can I explain it for you to understand very well, understand what goes on in their mind, but at the same time they're trying to find an answer in them, so a lot of things go through their mind. So sometimes it gets so they can get so anxious and worried, and then so
yeah,
I've heard of some parents complaining that their child does, even my child, sometimes he doesn't sleep at night. I mean, he doesn't sleep on time. Sometimes 2 a.m., 3 a.m. is not sleeping because he will tell me that he's worried. Worried about what? He can't explain. And I can understand, because it's hard for them to actually explain what's in their mind.
yes,
But for my son, there's this amazing thing about him. He can actually put it down in writing when he's actually in his mind is settled. He can put whatever he's thought, whatever thing he's thinking, he can put it down in writing. But for him to communicate it out can be very, very difficult because of the communicational difficulty and the challenge
yeah,
to go
yeah.
through. Yeah. So that's the amazing thing about him. Yeah. So
Okay.
I tend to use the word of God to actually help him, bring his mind to the understanding of the word. It's the only God that help whatever thing that is going on in his mind. He can actually pray to God that God can help him, and God helps us anyway when we speak to him.
Course, of course, of course, He does. Never leave us, nor forsake us.
Yes, yeah, exactly.
It's always there. Yeah. So we can round up if you want to give some last minute advice or
Yeah, and
anything.
I
Yeah.
think one more thing before I forget here, what this the supporting thing that the network can actually do for you as a parent or as an individual with autism. It's a network where you can actually get the right or suitable educational opportunity or educational support or the right employment that is suitable
Okay.
when it comes to an adult, the right
Yes.
employment support.
Yes.
Yeah, because it's not
Great.
every employment that is suitable for autistic individual. But this are the network where you can actually get the right one for you that is suitable for you by actually, seeking for advice and guidelines. And with that, you can come
Yes.
across what you need on how you
Okay.
can go about the right employment for yourself. So that's another point I wanted to raise. Yeah.
That's great. That's great information. So people take note of it. As I said, you can share it to persons that you think maybe able it will be beneficial to them, so they won't miss the information that was shared here tonight, and they can join Beautiful Variation. And as you said before, just repeating, is it on Facebook, Instagram,
It's on
where again?
Facebook, it's on Instagram, and we also have the YouTube, sorry, the WhatsApp group as well.
WhatsApp group.
We just got beautiful variation.
Okay. And the WhatsApp group, is it just persons here in the UK, or can it
Not really from UK, from different part of the world. Yeah.
okay, great. And do you wanna is there a link to join the chat?
Let me see. I have the link here. One second more. I'm trying to see how I can drop it. I'm going to drop it in the chat.
Yeah, okay, because is it the same link with HTTPS, that's YouTube, Tiny CC.
Yeah, that's the WhatsApp group.
That's the WhatsApp. That's it. Okay. Okay,
Yeah.
well, it's there, and well, it's not coming up as blue. Maybe it's being blocked to come up as a link, but it's there. It's in the
Oh,
chat. Yeah. All
okay.
right. Yeah. I'm not seeing it blue on my side at all. It's
Oh,
just normal black typing.
right.
So
But
let me ask anyone on here that's listening. Are you seeing the link in blue? Please indicate yes or no, please, because I'm not seeing it as being blue as a link. So if you are seeing it, please let me know. So with that, we have roughly 2 minutes. Oh, okay. One person says yes. I
okay.
don't know if anyone else is seeing it. Okay. So closing remarks, please.
Okay. So basically, in essence, when it comes to autistic individual, I mean, caring for autistic individual, it can be a very great challenging situation, a very good challenging situation. But the point is, with the right support and the right intervention, they can excel very, very well. And you, as a parent, when you have the right support and the right environment to thrive, more in terms of helping your child or helping an individual that is autistic, it's a beautiful thing. That's the thing, because all we tend to hear about is the negativity side of it, but there's so many
Yeah.
beautiful things that revolve around their life that we don't know, except if we put that effort in terms of reaching out and helping them through.
Okay.
So that's what I would just say, ma'am.
All right. So thank you very much.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So thank you for coming on. Thank you for your time. Thank you to the listeners. Thank you for, spending your time with us and gathering the knowledge that was shared tonight. God bless you richly for me.
Yes, ma'am.
And hopefully don't let this be your first and your last. We'll see you again back on the program. at
All
any
right.
point in time. So
Mhm.
let me just end now. So thanks again, listeners, and we'll see you next Monday with another interesting program about with more information on this month's awareness of autism. Yeah. Okay.